Hello everybody. Today I'm going to be making another Bitcoin market update video, and the last video that I made was approximately 2 weeks ago, and just so happens that we are sitting at the exact same level as we were back then. Bitcoin has been consolidating inside of this range for about 2.5 months now, since early January, and recently it seems like we are sort of forming a pennant formation. We are consistently putting in lower highs and higher lows. And I know some people hate when Bitcoin trades sideways inside of a range like this because it's boring price action. But if you're trading, you should love these ranges. We have defined lows and defined highs. We have reference points as to what is considered overbought for Bitcoin and what is considered oversold. Plus, you could take a fixed range volume profile of this entire range that we've been trading in and get pretty good trades just using the volume ranges. And there are plenty of juicy scalps inside of these ranges. You know, we're kind of at a touchy point for Bitcoin right now. People don't really know what's happening. People don't know what's going to happen next. Really, any big news event has people doom posting, even though the European ban on proof of work turned out to be a big nothing burger, at least for now. And people are unsure if this is a prolonged euphoria wipe of the market or if this is a prolonged beginning to a bear market. And I haven't seen this one yet, but I'm sure there's people thinking that we are going to break down out of this little pennant that we are forming right now, and it's going to be a bear flag, a continuation of this pattern, which has an absolutely ridiculous target, which I think is impossible. It is actually below the previous bear market lows. So I think it's very unlikely that anything like that happens. But that doesn't mean we can't break bearish out of this, and I think it's very possible that we do that. Honestly, I think we could potentially break up or down out of this, but I don't think we're going to the low thousands or anywhere close to that really. But it is definitely a possibility that we break bearish and potentially put in some lower lows. Truthfully, right now, I think either scenario is possible, so I think it's best to be prepared for either scenario. But we are potentially getting some mixed signals in the indications. Even though the weekly time frame looks a little bit frightening right now, there is some hope, I think, in some of the lower time frames. But to address the elephant in the room, we did just cross below the zero line with the weekly money flow, which is a extremely rare occurrence. Actually, on this chart, it's only happened, looks like 3 times in Bitcoin's history. And this most recent time that the weekly money flow crossed into the negative, it led to approximately a 68% drop. And so, seeing the weekly money flow cross into the negative here is definitely a bit frightening. And I think it is possible that we could see a 60% drop from the all-time highs, which, of course, if that happens, would probably mean that there may be some more downside action. It may just lead into the entire bear market, which could result in 80 to 90% drops from all-time highs. Now, I don't think that this money flow crossing over necessarily means that that is going to happen, but it is something to keep in the back of your mind. Also, it looks like we could potentially print yet another red dot on this weekly momentum wave. You can see the VWAP's actually pretty close to crossing over, so it looks like we are probably going to get another red dot down here. So truthfully, the weekly time frame isn't really looking the best for Bitcoin right now, but I do think there is some hope on this daily time frame. I actually think we have a very nice setup here on the daily. We have the market cipher basic strategy here. We have a anchor wave and then multiple trigger waves forming as the money flow is increasing on the daily time frame. And we actually just recently printed another green dot down here on this momentum wave, forming another very nice trigger wave and potentially indicating some upside action in the short term, which actually gives me a bit of hope that we may be able to break up out of this little consolidation area and get the relief rally that we have been so desperately waiting for. And actually, comparing this current daily time frame setup to the daily time frame back in the summer, right now actually looks a lot better than back in the summer. You could see we were building up momentum here. We had the anchor and then some trigger waves forming, but the money flow was continuously putting in lower lows as this was happening. What we didn't see over here was the anchor wave and then the trigger waves forming as the money flow is increasing and actually getting very close to crossing over the zero line. And overall, this section of the daily time frame looks just a lot better than back in the summer. You can see nice curvature in the momentum waves overall, looking like they are building up momentum towards the upside, which again makes me think we could potentially see a relief rally in the short term. And even though it is going to be a very big task, hopefully if we get a relief rally of some sorts, we're able to turn that weekly time frame around. Checking out the 4-hour time frame, the money flow is also increasing on the 4-hour and actually seems like it could potentially cross over here, but we did just print a red dot on this momentum wave, and honestly it looks like we could potentially come down for a little bit and form some sort of trigger wave to this anchor wave right here before we see any upside. And potentially we could end up revisiting the bottom of this little triangle or pennant before we try to make a run for the top of it and hopefully break out of it. But you can see the money flow building up on the 4-hour here as well, as the daily is getting very close to crossing over. So I definitely think there is some hope in these smaller time frames. Overall, if there's one thing that I'm sure of, it's that the Bitcoin network isn't going away, and any price action is temporary. Whether that price action is up or down, it's all about what you do with it. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed, please consider leaving a like and subscribing. I really appreciate all of the support. And I will see you all on Thursday for my next video. Peace.